Okay, great. If you could tell us more about who you are and what company you've built over the 15 years and what you guys do and where are you guys located?
Yeah, my name is Albert Yuen. I'm a custom home consultant, and we are a design and build company located in Markham, Toronto, Canada. And we've been around since 2013 when we incorporated here. And we've been servicing the design and build as in renovations, permits, interior rendering side for many years until a couple of years ago, we decided to approach the consulting side as well. This transition in the beginning was very difficult for us because we naturally got referrals, word of mouth for renovation specifically. But as we kind of branched into other revenue sources such as consulting, zoning analysis, feasibility studies, pro forma projections, things like this, and ultimately right now, multiplexes, multifamily type of building. We stopped getting word of mouth referrals for that because our general demographic target, our natural client base was not there. So I think at that point in time, it was perfect timing that Mo and Saeed reached out to us. It's because we needed help. We didn't know who to ask. In fact, I did try multiple marketing companies, but it was so cookie cutter services like, social media, 8 posts a month, 2 reels, one banner change, for X dollars. And it didn't work for us because a lot of these companies, marketing companies, didn't understand what we were to begin with and where we were trying to go to, what we were trying to revolve into. And so I, I'm really happy to see some of the results of working with NAR Consulting is because I realized they were not a marketing company per se, that you guys are actually lead gen experts. Now, generating leads is one thing. I can purchase leads anywhere I wanted to, right? Of certain platforms that do renovations. But because of such our unique range of demographic, we really needed to be specific with our messaging of our branding. And so the lead gen services that I experienced is one where, first of all, there were enough leads. They were qualified leads, and these leads were already vetted for me. So by the time it landed as a 15-minute consultation on my calendar, it was basically I didn't have to go through reselling of who I am and what my company does, because that usually is a 20-minute conversation. It saved me 20 minutes to allow my meetings to be nice and exact and short. So all I'm doing is at that point, they already almost know me. The clients that arrive on my calendar on Google Meet, they speak to me as if they knew me already. And so I don't know what you guys magic are doing in the background there. Probably a combination of creating the right target ads, controlling and editing those ads as they get ad fatigue. As some don't work, some work, and really getting what I am, what my company does out there before they even reach me. I think that is super amazing. It was very frustrating because as a small business growing, right, we have a choice to always in-house some of these things. I've also tried that too, right? But then I realized at some point this was not a one-man show. The services that you are providing span across consulting, lead genning, website building, video editing, content writing, and you do it in such a way where if I were to in-house this particular aspect, right, I will have to hire at least 2 to 3 people to do this on a full-time basis. So in a sense, there I'm also getting cost savings because I'm not hiring, let's just say full-time, say through $3,500, $4,000 Canadian a month per person. I think I'm getting a great deal because now I'm getting professionals working not exactly full-time, but they're getting the things done, right? Executing. So when you're working with professionals, you don't track them by hour. You track them by the result. I don't know how many hours you actually put into it, but I know that I'm getting it on time and what I'm trying to get, right? But the transition before I met you guys was actually very painful for me. It's because we tried in-house, we tried paying the big agencies that call themselves marketing agencies. We tried just about everything, but nothing was producing anything, right? Let's not even talk about leads. Leads were not being generated. We got a lot of brand exposure, but there was zero leads. What's the point of brand exposure when there's no leads? And so if there's leads and there's not qualified leads, I was like, oh my goodness. So transitioning also requires hand-in-hand teamwork between you guys and us. Like we were actively participating in changing the look of our websites, our landing page, the call to actions on our website. based on your consultation, right? Based on your recommendations to us. And I think that created great synergy, right? And so, yeah, there's still a lot of work to be done in-house, but we were very happy when we finally clicked to separate some of these works to a professional. And so all we do now in on the in-house side is create certain graphics, certain contents, such as online e-magazines, social media postings. That's all on us right now. Website and portfolio updates, project progress, video shoots. I mean, these are all a company needs to provide, right? Sure, you can do it too, but that will also probably blow my budget. You'll probably have to be here day in, day out, like looking over my staff's shoulders, checking what they're doing. And I think it's not always feasible like that. So I found a good balance working with you guys of what to outsource and what to keep in-house. And so far, I think we're having a really good time there.
Great. I want to ask another question in terms of, so you said you've tried to do it in-house, then you were burned by a couple of other companies who claimed to, who claimed or promised certain results that were not able to sort of deliver. Now, at some point when we reached out or we initially met, not just sounded like any other company. They're promising certain results. They showed you perhaps some happy clients they worked with. But what really stood out in terms of I'm burnt by other companies in the space, and a lot of people, to be honest, at this point they just give up on the whole concept of trying to like market online or
Online marketing. Yeah, they totally say, I'm not doing anymore. This
yeah,
is a waste of money.
sure.
It's a scam altogether.
I'll just focus on building my connections in the commercial world or just get to know more developers. So you didn't give up on the whole thing. Like, was it that somebody you knew figured it out and you thought, since somebody else figured it out, I'm just yet to meet the right company to work with? Or like, how did you, like, walk me through your thinking process?
Yeah. So once a small business company does everything that they could physically can do with the budget they have and the staff they have, right? They have to ask, well, something clicked in my mind. I was like, this can't be it. So you're telling me that every time I stop working, money stops coming in? I didn't get into small business and build a corporation, build a business brand to work myself into a position where if I stop working one day, my whole staff has no more food to eat, like that don't make no sense to me. It was kind of like the final frontier. Before because we did booths, we did hand-to-hand door knocking, everything. We did all of the direct marketing that we physically as people can do. But that can't be the only way, right? There has to be some sort of residual leads coming in from somewhere through some sort of branding, goodwill efforts, right? So marketing and doing online marketing was the final frontier for us. But online marketing spreads, in my mind, into several categories. Social media is one thing, like so you're talking about Instagram, Facebook. Website is one thing. Google ad spend is one thing, right? Now we are not trained in this thing, so we at first thought, you know what? How about we do the socials first, right? But I realized the socials had no direction, and I was having a very tough time deciding what am I posting with the socials media, right? It has to work with a much more holistic plan that works well with SEO driven or even chat GPT SEO driven, whatever you call that thing right now. Um, so that you make changes to the main landing, which is the website, which then the social media will follow up and support and make real the story that we are projecting outside. Because then they get an insight a little bit of all of the company members. What are we doing, right? And so I think working with you guys, we were able to piece together with data, a holistic plan. Driving force is lead generation, not marketing, right? You can market all you want, but if you can't lead gen, if you don't get leads, then that means nothing. And of course, we as the company has to close those leads. So those leads must be qualified. And so, yeah, sorry to answer your questions in such a kind of broad way, but I really want to get a message across that this is a necessary step for any small businesses to grow into mid-sized businesses. And if you do not take this, then you will be always a couple steps behind because your reach physically cannot be possibly bigger than an online reach, right? It's just physically not possible, right? I can't be constantly flying over to Calgary per se because we have business over there too, physically, right? You just can't simply reach out that far. But through curated, recorded, or design marketing tools, right? we can blast this to over 100,000 people if we wanted to, instantly if we wanted to, right? The one good example was that we in the last couple of days ran a festival. We had a booth at the festival, and a lot of people approached our booth, and we told them, "Hey, is this the first time you working with Kitchen Co, this brand?" He's like, "No, we've been seeing you a lot, and you seem very familiar, and we saw your booth, so we came up to say hi because we actually had a renovation project." I was like, "Wow, that is very good insight," because otherwise, if I didn't had that earlier lead gen campaigns going on and people were seeing me when before they go to sleep, scrolling through Instagram, Facebook, they may not have approached me, or they may not have felt familiar enough to actually speak with me, right? And so this, I confirmed today again that our efforts in the lead gen campaigns that we're doing are truly making an impact in real life, right?
I see. Now, a lot of business owners miss the difference between leads and appointments. And by appointments, I mean qualified appointments who are within the service area of the business owner, within like in the budget that the business owner is comfortable working with, and of course the timeline. You don't want somebody who wants to renovate a year down the road. Now, there's a lot of companies, I would say, who's just promising leads.
Yes.
But a lot of those business owners don't understand the difference between leads. You could buy a list of thousands of leads, and you could spend hours or days trying to call and get a hold of those people. And if you're lucky enough, you get perhaps 5% pickup rate, let alone that this lead was sold to other contractors.
Yeah.
Do you have any experience when it comes to those lists? And if you could clarify more to whoever is watching this, the difference between a list of leads and actual team that is running the ads, getting the qualifying the appointments, booking them, and following up with them until the business owner just gives the estimates and then takes it from there.
Yeah. Yes. So there are leads. There are lists of leads, right? There are qualified leads, and then there is your conversion, right? So the thing is, if anyone were to do this, if they had a conversation, let's just say they had 100 lists, that this is a solid list, they got it from somewhere. Solid leads are people that said, I am interested in a renovation, right? Now, however they got that list, who knows? And how many of them are actually ready for renovation, who knows? But in order to find out, you or a staff or multiple staff will have to start calling them. And you'll notice that any phone call minimum without pre-qualifying them will be half an hour of conversation. So half an hour of conversation times 100 leads, right? It's almost impossible for you to go through that list fast enough before they get discouraged and they move on and find someone that can give them information right away. So it's almost unrealistic to go through lists and thousands of leads, right? I sometimes say Albert, why don't you do trade show? I said trade show is good. They said that when it works, it really works, but you have enough manpower to actually filter through all of these leads, right?
Sure.
So a qualified lead is a very different thing from a lead. A lead could be like they're kind of interested. A qualified lead is, yes, I'm interested. I'm in the market to do a renovation. My budget is X amount. So you vet out anything that is outside of your scope of work, right, or what you're willing to do. The range, distance range, as in it's within your boundary, right? And it's already at least confirmed all these things. On top of qualifying that lead, the qualified lead already knows who you are. They know who Albert Yuen is. They know who Kitchen Co is. They know the services that we provide. That conversation right there, just qualifying the lead and making sure that they know you already, is minimum a 30-minute conversation, right? Otherwise, how would they know?
Sure.
And so, therefore, it allows me with my limited resources, right, to actually focus on the leads that work and give it my best. Throw all my effort into giving service and information to that one particular lead. So here's the big difference between non-qualified leads and qualified leads. Let's call them non-qualified and qualified. Qualified leads is what you want. And you can only vet your efficiency of what you do as a salesperson, as the owner of the business, right? As the lead sales of your company, brand ambassador, whether those leads are good or bad by the conversion rate, right? But if you're converting out of 1,000 leads, only 10, it's not going to look too good. But out of qualified leads, let's just say I had 10 qualified leads and I closed eight of them. Now my sales rate is very good. So therefore, I'm very efficient, right?
So now, let's say you've got the qualified list. You just mentioned that you're risking that those people, if you don't get to those people fast enough, they might just go and find someone else to get this info from.
Definitely, right?
Yeah.
Definitely. You would, I would. Like, if I wanted to know something and I'm aggressive, right? And I want to know because FOMO, I need to do that right now. If I don't do it right now, I'm not going to do it anymore. I need to find out within an hour, right? Maximum,
So
what I want, right?
what I wanted to ask about, if like at least how efficient it was, the fact that our in-house team calls those qualified people and double qualifies them and then books them in directly on your calendar. How much time um, did that sort of save you? And would you say the quality of the appointments that you ended up having increased?
Yes. So every appointment that shows up will be based on the ads that we've decided collectively to run, right? So there are times we are running campaigns for kitchen remodels, sometimes for multiplex, sometimes for custom home. With you guys vetting out, pre-qualifying it multiple times, right? Through landing page, through video testimonials, through you calling them again right before um the the meeting, the Google Meet, and also specifying specifically all of the answers that the client had already provided you through landing pages or phone conversation into the Google Meet details. I'm able to instantly, right, just read it right before my meeting, show up, look fresh, and just give my pitch. Right. I would say you save me per conversation at least an hour's time, which I hours that I don't have. Right. So I think this is a necessity for small businesses that are growing, especially in a competitive market such as the construction industry, to save your time and make your processes as efficient as possible. Otherwise, you simply do not have enough time in the day. Something's going to break in your life, your family, or your attention to your own internal staff, or your basically your enjoyment of life, right? Something is going to dramatically crash, right? If you don't have these systems in place.
See, now all what we've talked about, like the processes, the way we run the ads, the way we qualify, book them, and the way you give estimates. This whole concept is pretty nice. It saves a lot of time, but everybody pretty much cares about the results. It's like, how much did I pay and how much did I make? Now, before I get into what type of results we're able to achieve to Kitchen Co, I would say there's a lot of business owners who think of lead generation or client acquisition as a form of a luxurious option that you don't necessarily need. Whenever I have time or money, or maybe when I scale, I'll have some extra cash for marketing or you know uh, get into the right people. Uh, why do you think they think this way? Why do you think they look at marketing in a way where they think it's an expense?
I think it's the natural growth process of small business where let's just say you were a tradesman, right? Which I was 10 years ago, a tradesman, right? I did everything by myself. I worked 8 to 10 hours a day on the job site and eventually got home. I did some bookkeeping if I had energy. If not, I saved it to the end of the project to do the bookkeeping kind of thing. And this cycle repeats. But as you scale from, trades, getting partners in trades and becoming a GC, a project management and a design project management company, right? You're going to have to scale,
Yeah.
right? And as you scale, the only thing in small business is king is cash. You're trying to control the amount of cash coming in and out of the account and making sure that you have enough reserve to pay the bills. By suddenly approaching online marketing, which was an expense that didn't exist before, you're going to have to make some major changes in the way you run things in order to facilitate that expense. Now, this is having said you were just growing naturally. For people that have approached business and they're saying, you know what, I need a cash injection, I need to borrow money from the banks if they're able to, or get a personal loan to the corporation to make this run. They're in a mindset that they want to scale this business, that, certain processes are already set in stone. Yes, I'm going to do design. Yes, I'm going to do construction, but now I want to do 10 times of that. You're going to need some sort of cash injection. But the moment you do get to a point where you can borrow from the bank, or you can get an investor to invest in your company, or you can put a personal injection into your corporation to have this operational growth, right? You will have to consider this as a necessity because back to the point, you physically can only talk to so many people a day. You can only physically reach certain people a day by handshake and baby kissing, right? Now, let's just say you hire one professional sales. Now, he's going or she is going to be capped as well, equally as you are capped in the physical ability to speak with more than 10 people a day. right? Online marketing is the only tool that will allow you to reach hundreds of thousands of people for the right price. Whether or not you can convert it is up to both the professional lead gen company, but also yourself as a company that has enough marketing, website, infrastructure to facilitate the growth. And so, therefore, along a lot of the small business owners are having a tough time transitioning from almost like a sole proprietorship format into a team format where they need to actually get operational cash injection from either bank themselves or others to facilitate growth.
Got it. The reason I asked this question because we've noticed, especially after working pretty close to you and your team, that you guys looked at the marketing expense as an investment, not as an expensive coffee machine that the team wanted.
Yeah.
You looked at it as, oh, that's how much I need to acquire this customer, and as long as it's an investment, you just sort of treat it as just part of your hard cost, or just part of your how much you have to pay to actually acquire a client, and then you just put your markup on top of it, and just like any other expenses. That's what I'm trying to say.
It's part of the ecosystem of your brand. Without online marketing, you're lacking something that is what people consider as well, when they vet you, they may not have a chance to speak with me, right, or my staff. So the only thing they will see is what they see online. So if it doesn't even reach them, that they won't know you existed.
True.
It's the same, and so it is actually part of the branding machine, that online marketing is part of it, because you need exposure, right? And then once you get exposed enough, they see you enough times, and when you finally meet you in person, they're like, oh, I know you, I've seen you. Instead of a completely being cold, it's now a warm lead at least, right? Using cold, warm, hot, right? And sometimes it's a hot lead already because they're hot in the market and ready to go, ready to pay. But if you didn't already get in front of their faces several times and they're just starting to learn from you, other people that are already doing it will get the job for sure, right? Unless you are dramatically better in either price or service or goodwill, right? I think it's absolutely necessary. But building a little bit on top of that, because I've tried to do it in-house and trying to do it all by myself, right? Outsourcing lead gen is actually cost saving. It's actually cost saving because if you think about it, you hire any professional university student coming out that has taken a advanced course in marketing, you're gonna pay them 4 or 5K a month. Minimum, right? Especially for the digital nomads that really know what they're doing. Now, if you compare that to a management fee of something similar, but you're getting a whole team of professionals, right? That's completely different. And you'll notice this, that no matter how good my designers are, right? They can only work on 1 or 2 projects at a time. If I suddenly give them 5, any professional designer will collapse because they're overloaded. No one can multitask like that, right? You need a team to do volume. Therefore, you need a team to do volume of leads, right? You will try to do it yourself, and you will eventually hit that wall where physically your team cannot go through. Then you'll be like, okay, I think I need to outsource. So if I were to do this again, I would have just budgeted early on, right? I would make changes to my processes and my structure to have slightly enough budget to do this much earlier on, so I didn't have to piece it together myself, right?
I see what you mean.
Yeah.
I know how busy you are, so I'll try to wrap it up with a couple of questions. Now, was there any project that sort of was slightly a surprise? Like you didn't expect that such a project would come from a marketing company, and how fast did you start seeing results with us?
Yeah, I can speak about our first lead that you guys generated for us. During that week, I had 4 to 5 leads show up on my calendar. Some were more qualified, some were less qualified, as per usual, because we were just testing our first ads. We didn't know like how the market would react to us. But we had one person call up, and he was just like, "Yeah, I want this, I want this, I want this. I want you to show up, and I want you to give me a quote." I was like, "Okay, you don't want to know more about me? No, just come, just don't waste time, come, right?" Okay. I was like, "Oh, I don't know if this is gonna work out, right?" Because usually people want to know more about us. But I realized people that are ready to spend money, they won't ask too many questions. They've already done the research. They're literally just finalizing their decision. So we were there, we showed up, we designed, we quoted, we designed, we locked down the deal. That was the perfect example. And that only took 1 meeting, 1 site visit, and locked deal. And when I locked the deal, I was in Miami, right? I was sitting in a Starbucks in Miami when I locked that deal down. right? So I was extremely happy about that. Now, is that going to replicate every single time? No, it's not, right? Like there's a different type of clients out there. But just today, we received an email saying that, hey, we heard about you, we saw you, we also saw you at the festival. So we did, we touched them a few times on, I guess, their social media. They saw us again at the festival. They heard a little bit of people that knew us. And now they sent an email saying, I would like to get a quotation from this. We got a good referral. Yeah, so it all worked together, right? And so I think once you start doing lead gen and start getting your name out there, you're going to be very surprised to see some of the interesting results that come out of it, especially if your website and your socials are up to par, right?
Gotcha. In terms of numbers, you said you were able to close one of the first appointments and within a week. Would you be comfortable sharing how much or how big of a job it was?
Yeah, it was a I wouldn't say a full house renovation, but a main floor and bits and pieces, washrooms everywhere. It added to around 150K before tax. Yeah. And so for that first month, and I mean that one deal covered for multiple months of the or your management fee, and of course the ad spend that is necessary for this to make this happen, right? Yeah, we're getting a lot of smaller deals as well, and those lead to larger deals, such as zoning analysis reports. We're getting a whole bunch of these inquiries now, right?
I want to ask you more. I want you to tell whoever is watching or listening to this more about zoning analysis and how common it is, and because I'm pretty sure not a lot of people do it the way you guys do it. I have a couple questions to ask you on that. Before this, I have two more questions. One, what would you tell those who are on the fence in terms of I'm not sure if the marketing would work for me or if it even going to work. Why is it important now? So those segment of the market or contractors, and the others who are not sure if they should work with NAR or not.
Right. So yeah, that's two separate questions. Marketing is very similar to design. So I'm in design and build. We don't design one style. We design any style that will fulfill the aesthetic needs of a client and also the functional needs of a client. Likewise, marketing is very artistic as well. You need to first understand your client. So there's no company that you can't market, right? The proper marketing lead gen company will understand you. They'll understand you even before they speak with you, which is exactly what happened. Like we met through an email that you sent to us, and you recorded yourself talking, telling me that you're not a bot, and that you told me based on that one recording more than any other marketing specialist that I've met, SEO specialist, whatever specialist that I've had, off of an email. And once we had our first interview, right, you told me even more about SEO and your understanding and how you can help us more than anyone that I've met prior. Right? And I haven't even retained you at that point. So at that point, I said, well, and then I have to work with these guys, right? And plus, you guys don't party, you don't drink. You guys work 7 days a week. If there was 8 days, you will work the 8th day. And so I find that was truly amazing because you're working with true professionals, right? And so, yeah, for anyone sitting on the fence, I think lead gen is massively important. So if you're not knocking on every single door that you see, literally knock on the door, and you're not handing out flyers through the traditional means, and you're not doing not food booths, like booths, like trade show booths, and you're not doing all that, which by the way costs even more, right? Then you've got to be doing some sort of marketing. Otherwise, you're simply not going to be competitive enough in today's AI world where people are finding you on ChatGPT, right? And so thank God you guys got us to #1 in Toronto for multiplex, right? As far as Google search is concerned, and also ChatGPT, which we were just playing around with and seeing our name pop up there made us feel really good, right? And so, and also helping us understand ourselves because you asked some pretty sensitive questions where it put the owner and also the team in place to critically think, what are we and where do we want to go? And sometimes because you guys are a objective third party, you're able to ask us in a way where you're not trying to offend us or say we're right or wrong. Right? You just provided the data and the facts. Hey, are you sure you want to go that route? It doesn't seem like that's the way you need to go. Here are some of the data that you need to look at to make a further decision. And so you were able to really condense the conversations that we were afraid to have and we're not having as frequent enough into a short period of time. So now that we are clear what we are, the results are clear because you can't lie. Google doesn't lie, right?
Right.
Yeah.
You're right. One last question. Do you have any plans on continuing work with NAR either with Kitchen Co in terms of food renos, additions, those sort of projects, or even other projects that you're planning on partnering up with NAR and potentially working with them?
Yeah, so we started our first campaign, let's call it a campaign, on our residential side, right? Because that is technically our bread and butter. But in reality, half our business is commercial. So we have a commercial campaign we need to run. We have the full multiplex campaign we need to further increase and run, right? We have our Miami line and our Calgary line, right? And so, and as you know, we've already introduced you to a few referrals, right? And they're happy working with you. And so, yeah, well, I'm just looking for a very bright future. I think you may need to hire a few more staff, right? As do I. But I'm looking forward to writing off the results of our first campaign, so that it gives us enough rolling cash flow so that we can start the second campaign organically, and the third, and then the fourth, right? So, yeah.
Perfect. I enjoyed this so-called interview. If those who are listening to this are interested and they want to know more, I'm pretty sure your SEOs are pretty effective. You'll pop up first if they just search for Kitchen Co. Is there any other ways, like phone number or a different channel they could reach you at, or no?
Yeah, oh, you can find us on Instagram and Facebook at Kitchen Co. You can find us on YouTube. We have limited videos there. But our website at www.kitchenco.com. You'll see all of our future projects, everything that you need to know about us over there. Again, my name is Albert Yuen. You can find me on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, right? Albert_CH_Yuen. And you'll get a glimpse into some of the seminars that I'm doing with different brokerages. I continue to host seminars. I can also have private seminars where I come to your office or you come to mine. We can collaborate on summits, and ultimately, it's very difficult not to be able to find us, right? If you search for us. Thanks to Mo and Saeed and the team, right, for getting us, #1 ranking there. So Toronto Multiplex Builder, you'll find us. Kitchen Co, you'll find us.
Perfect. Thanks again for your time. I know how busy you are, and looking forward to working on more projects together.
Yes, excited. Thank you for your time, guys.
Thanks, Albert.